Hi, this is Ben Licata. Welcome to TattooNOWtv. You have seen us before as TattooNOWtv, but this is a new season with a new name, and we're going to try some new stuff. We've got a new segment, TattooNOW News, hosted by the one and only Matt O'Brien. He's going to come from out behind the computer and tell you a little bit about what's going on with TattooNOW. We've got a new segment tentatively called The Circuit about convention coverage, things like that. We're going to start showing some user-submitted videos. This week we've got one from Ian Robert McCowan. I think it's about how to gesso a canvas. This week we're interviewing David Corden in-house live, and we'll be talking to Jason Butcher and Lianne Moule from Immortal Inc. over in the UK via Skype. It's a great show. I hope you guys enjoy it. At the end of the show, we're going to run through the TattooNOW Tattoos of the Day, which are available on our app. You can download that for free on the iTunes App Store, and you can follow along with us, and you can vote for the tattoos that you think are the best. Our next show will be November 10th. We're going to be talking with Damon Conklin in-house, and then via Skype we'll be talking with BJ Betts and Corey Ferguson. Those guys have a lot of insight. I think it's going to be a really great show. And then stay tuned after our show at midnight Eastern. Guy Aitchison's Hypercast will be coming up. It's his brand new show. It's a great interview show. This week he's talking to Russ Abbott, Kelly Doty, and Teresa Sharp. So stay with us and enjoy the show. Thanks a lot.
No web traffic? Still not booking appointments? Is your web designer missing in action? Well, now there's hope. TattooNOW.com. We work on all levels, from artists just starting out to professional tattooers of exceptional influence.
My name's Gabe Ripley. I founded TattooNOW.com well over 10 years ago at this point. Ultimately, at the core of what we do is power websites and mobile apps. What we do is allow the artists to do the easy part, which is upload their portfolio, update their news or their blog, and then we use our special programming to distribute that content on multiple websites throughout the internet and mobile app universe.
TattooNOW creates high-traffic websites specifically for the tattoo industry. My name is Brian Kopthite. I've been working for TattooNOW since 2009. I am the primary salesperson and marketer for TattooNOW. TattooNOW-powered websites create new clientele and new revenue for artists that are new, established artists, or established studios. We'll help to get you booked up for a month doing just the tattoos that you want to do.
And that's where your friend can't build one as good as us. That's all we do is build websites for tattooers every day. But what we have at TattooNOW really can't be matched by any other company.
Updating a TattooNOW website is very simple. If you can do social media, you can update to TattooNOW. Do that 24/7. You can go home at the end of the night and you have done a great tattoo and you're excited about it. You update that tattoo. It goes instantly to your website, it goes to your profile page, it goes to the iPhone app. It's what TattooNOW is all about.
You know, at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. And if you look at the statistics and the amount of traffic that we're able to provide and the amount of clients that we're able to attract, no one can touch us.
Howdy. So, I'm Matt. I work on production for TattooNOW. I also help out with this show. I'm going to be starting a new segment. What we're going to go through is the TattooNOW network news as well as the convention corner. So I'll go through some of the latest news for conventions and stuff. The first thing is the TattooNOW network news. If you check out TattooNOW.com, what you'll see is the latest news section. That all comes from our client websites and what they're updating. So I'm going to give a quick highlight of those. The first one is Ask Darkwater. Darkwater Tattoos is Jose Perez Jr.'s studio, and it's pretty packed with great artists. Their manager just recently interviewed a couple of their artists, and she posted their favorite tattoos as well as some images, and it's just a great article, and it's neat to see, and we recommend to all of our clients to consistently update, and it's great to see that in practice. The other big news is the Endangered Species Tattoo event, which is coming up on November 10th. It's not too late to sign up. If you visit animaltattoosforendangeredspecies.com and you click How Can I Help, you'll be able to see a sign-up sheet and actively log in. You'll get an email from us. We'll provide you a press release, an action plan, and as well as a Photoshop file so you can create flyers for marketing and stuff like that. It's a great event. It's based off of the Food Tattoos for Hunger event, which I helped with TattooNOW to organize. and it's just great. We try and maximize our impact, and as a community, it's what we can do. Tattoos.com, one of the older tattoo websites, actually interviewed Gabe Ripley, our boss. It's a neat interview. It goes through a lot of the inner workings of this whole business and how everything ties together. The other thing is neotat.com launched. This is a huge website, absolutely packed with fantastic artists. You can check it out at neotat.com. Our designer Aaron is fantastic. He does a great job, and he worked with us, and we worked with Ray and Frank, and they were a great group of people to work with, and we highly recommend perusing that website, their artists, and just checking it out on the daily. The other thing that we wanted to announce was the October highlight. We write a bunch of content for you guys to check out. The latest one was the October highlight. We wanted to look at some of the great tattoos that came out this month. Some of the artists that are highlighted are Jamie Parker, Mike DeVries, Jose Perez, and Alex Triansky. Again, some fantastic tattoos. We try and get them up on our Facebook as well if you guys want to check out that. The next thing we're going to check out is the convention circuit. A bunch of our staff just got back. We did Avion in France with Mary and Johnny Smith. They were blown away by some of the European talent. You can check out Instagram to see the hashtag of Avion Tattoo Show. They did their normal trip to see Philip Blue's studio and in Switzerland to the Giger Museum. Overall amazing time. Brian and Gabe, they went out to the Calgary show and saw some of our good friends. Shout outs to Mike McGee, we see you. They had a great time. They went out with Sean Hebrink, Max Rother, and David Corden. They had a great time. We totally ran out of mini mags. If you guys want to check those out, you might have to email management at TattooNOW. We might be able to send you one, but these are fantastic. We'll be doing another updated version. It goes through all of our artists, gives a quick bio on them. They're really fantastic and gone like hotcakes, I guess is the term. So, as for conventions, the latest one that just finished up was Gathering of the Giants down in Florida. Our good friend Stefano Alcantara was down there with a whole host of amazing artists. Richie Bulldog's down there. He's probably filming a ton of stuff, and he'll be releasing content. So shout outs to Hustle Butter and Richie Bulldog. So, as it comes into the wintertime, things kind of slow down. Everybody hunkers in. But there is some fantastic stuff going down this next year. February 9th through the 11th, Guy Aitchison will be visiting our Northwest shop with Jeff Gogwe. It's going to be pretty amazing. They're going to be doing some seminars, not reinventing the tattoo. Guy will be going through some of those things, as well as doing a collaborative tattoo with Jeff. He's going to be getting his hand tattooed by Jeff, Guy that is. And we're going to try and stream and provide as much of that content for you guys as absolutely possible. After that, March 7th through the 9th is Tintin Convention in Paris, so really in the heart of France. Tim Senecal, one of our leading artists at the Northeast shop, will be going out with another artist. Just stick tuned for all the information on that. We'll be, releasing stuff later. March 15th, we'll be doing a webinar with Chet Zar. We'll be releasing more details about that, but that should be an awesome time. We love Chet. He's no stranger to teaching, and he also has his Ego Death show, which will be kind of rounding out the end of this month. So stay tuned to hear about that. The last bit is March 21st, has a boatload of amazing artists. If you're a collector, you're going to know a lot of these names. If you aren't, I highly recommend Googling them. Matteo Pasqualini, Black and Gray Master from Italy. Alec Triansky, who is highlighted in Tattoo of the Day and on our October highlight, another fantastic artist. Jeff will be there, Kinst will be there, Costeco, Bez, Nate Beavers. The list keeps growing. Just stay tuned to the Off the Map Network. You can check us out on Instagram. We try and release as much content about that. That's what's going up. And then the last weekend of March is the Detroit show. TattooNOW is always there. It's a great show, and we look forward to it every single year.
All right, hey, how are you? We're here with David Corden. How are you?
Hello.
You don't
Good, man.
Don't watch yourself.
Okay.
It'll be really distracting.
Okay. I am good looking. I do to get distracted by myself quite easily.
See, we've got a little monitor down here, and so David's looking at himself when he should be looking at the camera. So what have you been up to? What are you doing in the States?
Just done a guest spot off the map, Massachusetts.
Familiar with that place?
Fantastic. Yeah, have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I think I may have seen somebody look similar to you in the studio.
I lurk around there a little.
Yeah, you do lurk. Yeah, that's exactly the way to describe the way people describe you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was wicked. Really good fun. They're a good crowd of people, and the studio's great, and it's a really nice app. I had some really good clients this week as well. So yeah.
What kind of stuff did you work on?
I did family portrait, father and son, and I also did a Twin Peaks themed tattoo, which was fantastic actually.
Yeah?
It was, yeah, it's kind of, it's a bit, it's not the usual thing I'd do. I kind of hide safely behind the portraits and things that I know I can do. And he sent me this list of things that he wanted included, which are very much, they're obviously very relevant to the TV series. If you don't watch it, then it's a list of really random items,
stuff.
And it's making it work as a picture, which was kind of challenging and really exciting because gradually he booked 2 days in a row, so we just, over 2 days, you just saw it, all the pieces just starting to fit together, and it became, yeah,
You
it's a
happy
really
with it?
cool piece. Yeah, really excited by it actually. Looking forward to doing more with it.
Tell us a little bit about Russ Abbott.
Yeah, in the UK, Russ Abbott is a comedian from the 80s. And he used to have like the prime time comedy show, Saturdays. And yeah, it kind of, my memories of it was that he was good, but I was very young then. And then gradually as you get older, you realise that it was just a pure cheese fest, really. It was just really corny gags and whatever, but he
So have you
released a
revisited?
song.
You revisited recently?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, because it's kind of, obviously you've got an incredible artist over here called Russ Abbott, who's uber famous and crazy talented, but...
And a bit of a comedian as well.
Yeah, well, I've not met him to know that, but it was just, of course, whenever I hear the name called out, it's the first memory is always the 80s and that song, which I think you should definitely play a clip of. So yeah, it always makes me sort of, my internal dialogue's always laughing a little bit when you're talking about Russ Abbott.
Well, hopefully you'll get a chance to meet Russ.
Yeah, it will be fantastic.
Change your perspective a
Yeah,
little.
or not. Maybe he'll
Maybe not.
deliberately. Yeah, who knows? I'm sure he'll love the song. It'll be his ringtone, no doubt.
I think Gabe made it his ringtone.
Yeah,
It's very nice.
yeah.
So, how did you first get interested in tattooing?
It was kind of almost by accident in a way. I'd kind of grown up with friends and guys at school that were getting tattoos, and they were never great, you know. But it was very cool that they had tattoos because it was a grown-up thing to do.
It's badass.
And
Especially when you're young.
Yeah, hell yeah. And then the people I started knocking about with and the life I started leading kind of took me away from it all, and it wasn't even it wasn't in my life. It didn't figure. You know, the guys I was knocking about with every day, none of them had tattoos, so it wasn't something that we even thought about. My dad had tattoos. He was ex-Navy, so you know, it's I've grown up thinking they were cool, you know. And then I think I was 30 before I actually got round to finishing off some artwork that I'd designed for myself to be a tattoo. And I was asking locally, it was very detailed, so I didn't want to lose any of the detail. And at that point, I didn't even know if it was possible to get all the detail in it. Some people were telling me yes, others were like, no, not a chance. And so I picked up a couple of tattoo magazines, and I could see some, you know, really detailed stuff in there, and it was like, well, okay, so it's possible. So I kept asking around, and whenever I found somebody whose artwork was of the standard I was looking for, it was always the same guy's name locally that had done it. And so I was out one evening with my cousin and some of his friends, and I noticed that one of his friends that you introduced me to had a really lovely tattoo, and it was like, who did that? And again, it was this Jim Gamble. I used to go to school with him. It was like, oh, really? Could you make an introduction? So he was like, yeah, no, I'll take you down. And we went to the studio, I think the following week, and there was a sign on the counter. This was in January, and there was a sign on the counter saying, now taking bookings for July. And you know what it's like. I was ready. I made the decision.
Right now,
the artwork was
right away.
ready, and it was like I didn't want to wait months, but it was like okay. So he went round the back, and he was talking to Jim, and he took my drawing with him, and I could see them having a conversation. And Jim stood up, and he went, "Did you draw this?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, it's cool. I like it." He said, "What colour do you want it?" And I said, "Well, I just want it as a pen and ink tattoo, really. I just want, you know, that effect. And I said, when in July can you do it? And he looked at the clock and he said, in 20 minutes?
Oh, right.
And it was
Great.
like, really? And my friend who knew him was like, you son of a... He makes me wait months when I come in. So we actually got 20 minutes later, he'd sort of met with the first client and getting ready. And as it was, it turned out that because of the way I'd drawn it, it was possible to run it straight through the stencil machine.
Oh,
so
great.
that saved him an awful lot of time, as I now know.
Yeah.
And then we sat down and got the tattoo started. And I said to him, how come you're doing it now? And he said, well, because most of my job is people that just come in and pick something generic or something out of the book. And he said, it's people bring in their own drawings every now and then. He said, this is the first time a drawing's come in that was usable straight away. I've usually got to redraw them or change something. Or he said, this is just, you know, ready to go. So he just told all of his clients he was running over. I think he cancelled the last client of the day and moved him to another day. And we just had a really good time. And I got exactly the tattoo I wanted. It was, you know...
What was it?
It was a dragon. It was pretty generic, as I later found out. And then, yeah, he said at the end of the day, bring your work in, I'd like to see it. And at that point, I was a ventilation engineer. I did that for 20 years. And
Which is exactly, what is that?
Duct work in...
Tin knocker?
Yep, indeed. I was trying to make it sound cooler.
No.
But, okay.
Sorry. I'm a construction worker by
Yeah.
trade, so.
It's a good trade. It was awesome. It was good fun. It wasn't ultimately what I saw myself doing, but I'd never saw it as a tattooist. So, you know, I had fun every day. I worked with a good crew of guys and we made a difficult job fun. You know, we got up to some stuff. But yeah, as it was, he said, bring your work in. Didn't tell me why, didn't tell me he had any intention behind it. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And I kind of went away and forgot. And
Because you had your tattoo and you were like, all right, I'm good.
But the
Back
great
to work.
thing was, it was, once you, I think everybody knows, once you get your first tattoo, suddenly your tattoo awareness increases. So I was looking
Definitely.
online and I was looking at everybody's tattoo that walked past me rather than just, you know, they just were nobodies before, they just didn't exist. And suddenly they'd be walking past and just anything on an arm would catch my eye and I'd have to look at it as it goes past, or somebody's back, or and you become a critique, and everything you look at, you're just like, you know, mine's better than that. Yeah, that's a bit's fallen out. That wasn't done very neat. That was, you know, so in that 4-year period, he'd actually started tattooing my cousin, and it came up in conversation with them one day, literally 4 years later, that I'd never come back with my portfolio, and Jim had remembered. And he said to my cousin, and fate, whatever it may be, I happened to be off work that day. So my cousin gave me a call and said, Jim said, bring your work in. And I just thought, how weird that he'd remember that. So I threw some stuff into a folder, made a makeshift portfolio and came down for the day. And when I spent the day with him in the studio, sort of reacquainting my friendship with Jim and realising that we, you know, still got on together. And at the end of the day, he said, let's have a look at this portfolio then. So he flicked through it and he said, if you're interested in tattooing, I'd be interested in taking you on as an apprentice. And
Did you have any background in art? I mean, where did this portfolio come from? Was it just a hobby?
Yeah, I'd always drawn since I was little. And then pursued art through my school career, did A-level art, got a U, got an ungraded as my mark, and when my teacher queried it, because she was like, oh, there's obviously been a mistake, and I thought, you know, oh, this is someone else's mark, and she queried it, and then she came back to me and said, yeah, they've said that it looks so much like a photograph, you may as well have handed in a photograph.
What?
And so they stuck by the grade.
It was too good?
Too realistic.
That's
It wasn't art anymore. So I sort of sent off a letter saying, you know, so the masters that are hanging in the National Gallery that look like photographs before photographs existed, they're not artists. So, you know, and it's just their argument didn't hold any water. They never replied. They never gave me any response to that. Stuck by the grade. I went to college after that to do graphic design, and I'd kind of, I don't know if I'd misread the prospectus or just got an impression from the prospectus that graphic design was I thought it was going to be a lot more illustration and all this kind of thing, and I didn't realise that it was really pushing towards being computer based at the time, and that was something I didn't understand computers then. Didn't want to work with computers. I just wanted to draw pictures. That was all I wanted to do. So I stuck at it, and I got my diploma in graphic design and realised that it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I came out of college and went into construction. So, you know, and it was only going to be for a year, and 20 years later, I was still doing it.
Still at it.
But so when the job offer came, it was the perfect thing to do. I'd never dreamt of being a tattooist, but suddenly I'd seen a few of Robert Hernandez's portraits, and of course Bob Tyrrell, and it was so I had an appreciation of what was possible, and it was like, I think one day I could do this.
And Bob started late in his, later in life.
Yeah, it was interesting hearing his story.
Sure.
How just, we were the same age when we both got tattooed first, and there was a few correlations, and it was just like, if Bob can do it, then hell yeah, I could do this. And one of the other things that had happened in the meantime was Jim's partner, Lizzie, had always been saying, teach me to tattoo, and he was like, no, not going to happen, don't want to teach my girlfriend, not happening. And he'd said to her, on the day he offered me, on the first day when he said, bring your portfolio in, I'd like to see it. He said to her, if he doesn't come back, I'll teach you to tattoo. And I never came back.
Oh.
So she was 4 years into her training when I came back.
Oh, how did that go over?
Yeah, cool. She was really happy I never came back.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because she got a job out of it, and she's a great tattooist now. So everything for a reason.
So how long have you been tattooing now?
7 years now. So not terrifically long time, but it feels like I've just blinked and it's 7 years have gone.
So you told us a little bit about the first tattoo you got. What's the first tattoo that you did?
My cousin, same cousin that was in that day, volunteered at Patch of Skin. And he's got some tribal and some, simpler things. And he said, oh, you can tattoo me. And I was like, great, what are we going to do? And he said, I want a portrait of Jack Nicholson from The Shining.
Make it nice and easy right out of the gate.
Yeah, bastard. But I was nervous and excited, and the thing, if I ever draw, it was generally portraits. So that was kind of my comfort zone. It was just, I think unlike some people, I spent probably the first 4 months in the studio just watching tattooing happening and asking. I didn't go, oh, when can I do one?
Right.
I wasn't in a rush to do one, because I think being older, I had an appreciation of just how serious the marks on the skin were going to be. It's like they don't come off.
Never.
And I was cautious. I thought I was going to be nervous on the first day, and I was actually quite excited. I slept like a baby. I got up the following morning, and I stayed at my cousin's as well, because he'd had so many tattoos. He was like, stay with me, I'll calm you down. I've got trust in you. Mm-hmm. And as it happened, I was all right, actually. Felt really good. And come the day, I made, probably a more comprehensive stencil than I do nowadays. And, under Jim's guidance, like he said, if there's a line that's not on the stencil, don't put it on the skin. If it's not in the picture you're copying, don't put it on. So, and it was really sound advice. I know it sounds dumb, but it's just, especially when you're doing your first one. And the other thing he said was, initially, keep your inks a little bit more watered out than you will do once you're a bit more skilled.
How come?
So you can build it up, rather than do something and go, too dark. No, that was too dark. Just, he said, you've got all the time in the world. Take as long as you need to take and gradually build it up. And it was really good advice.
So how did it come out?
Yeah, we did all right.
Yeah?
I was pretty proud of it,
You're
actually.
Still happy with it?
Yeah.
After all these years?
Yeah, I am. It's quite a nice one to show. The lightness is there. There's details that probably, if I'd redid it now, it would be a lot more saturated and a lot more detailed, but it looks like Jack Nicholson, and
that's good.
I'm pretty proud of it. Yeah.
So did you keep up with portraits after that, or did you have to go traditional flash?
Yeah, my boss was, he said, oh, it's come out great, I'm really proud of you. now I'm going to teach you to tattoo. And he didn't let me do another portrait for 2 years.
So what did you do after that?
Tribal, stars, Chinese symbols.
Nice.
Whatever came in. Yeah. And he kept it simple. And as frustrated as I was, and especially when I'm traveling around now and doing conventions and you see these 20-year-olds, these 19-year-olds that are just nailing it.
Straight out of art school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All they've done ever since the day they've started is anything they want to do, you know, and so they've got good really quick. But then Jim's rule worked really well as well, because by the time I did my second portrait, I'd had such good grounding in tattooing that, you know, I got the ink in so much better, so much smoother. So the second portrait was better than it would have ever been if I'd been allowed to do one the following week, you know, so I was a lot prouder. I could see the progression. And, you know, funnily enough, Tribal is one of those fantastic places to learn to shade, because you're going to colour it black anyway.
That's right.
So, you know, practice grey shade first. I always told a client I was going to as well, and said that, you know, and they were usually fascinated to see, what, you know, what do you mean by that? And then you'd work on it and they'd go, oh, right, okay. And occasionally it would have them sort of say, can we do something with the Tribal then that would use the shading? And I started doing quite a lot of 3D Tribal then, so making it all angular and that kind of thing, and people were, I kind of locally got known for doing that, and people kept coming in and asking for it long after I'd sort of said, I don't do that
so
anymore.
You don't do that anymore ever?
Not really. I'm only because I'm so busy doing the portraiture and sort of portraits, pin-ups, wildlife is my love, and I've got such a waiting list of that.
So what attracted you to that style?
I think I'd always known I was going to, really. With the day one of getting into tattooing, I knew that at some point, every day I wanted to be doing something realistic.
Is it still a challenge? Do you try to make it harder?
I'm not very fast at tattooing, which is a bit of a... Everybody in the industry seems to know that knows me well, and it's a bit of a joke that I'm the last one working, and, you know, a bit like Bob knows as well. Just they take as long as they take.
Right.
And every time you do a good one, you've set the bar for the next one, and everybody's waiting for you to have that bad day, so you just can't do it. So you just take as long as you need to take. But what I've found is I'm taking on bigger pieces and so I can get more done in the same amount of time now. So people are still seeing me sitting there doing a 12-hour tattoo and going, you take ages. But I'm like, yeah, but look what I did this time last year in the same time. So they're like, oh yeah, you are getting quicker. So yeah, I'm stupidly still taking on pieces that are going to take me 12 hours, but the client gets a...
Do you ever experience any fatigue tattooing 12 hours? Do you get tired?
Not yet, no. Everybody seems really concerned about me. Everybody keeps telling me that I'm going to burn out.
I've talked to a lot of artists who, after been tattooing for years, have back problems and hand problems, especially tattooers that tattoo for 10 and 12 hours at a time. Yeah.
Well, I broke my spine when I was 25, so I've had I've had back problems. So I know within the first year of tattooing, it triggered sciatica because I was sitting badly and doing all the things wrong that you shouldn't do and all this kind of thing. I'd never had a job where I sat down. It was always a physical work. And suddenly, I was sitting awkwardly on chairs. And one of the things I was always doing, rather than get the client to move their arm, I'd find myself working round the arm as the day went on, and then Jim would go, move them. And you're kind of almost upside down working on their arm. It's like, oh yeah, I can move people. I kind of felt rude to do it. And then suddenly, nowadays it doesn't bother me at all.
Just grab them, turn them, twist them.
You manhandle them, you don't really care.
It's not true. He cares about all of you. He does.
Yeah, definitely. But it was, it very, very early became clear to me that if I didn't start looking after my back, then it was going to be over very quickly.
So do you have any advice for collectors, clients on how to get a great tattoo?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. If there's a style that you're looking to get work in, hunt out the artists that specialise in that style. And there are hundreds in each style. You don't have to... You'll probably be quite surprised to find out there's somebody just down the road from you that does it. But if you've got to travel to another city or, even another country, then I know it's expensive, but it's on you for life. And if you have a bad tattoo, you would pay any amount to correct that mistake. So spend the money in the first place and don't make the mistake. Get a tattoo that you can't pay enough for the confidence sitting in the chair just knowing it's going to be great. It's going to be the way I want it to be, rather than sitting there thinking, oh, I hope they have a good day. I've seen some bad stuff in the video. It's like, well, you shouldn't. If they're good at what they do, everything will be a great piece. And the other thing would be just when you do approach the tattoo artist, give them as much information as you possibly can. You know, the emails, I get so many emails. Everybody does. Every busy artist does. The emails that just say, I'm looking to get a tattoo, you're not getting a reply. I know it sounds harsh, but there's another 100 people that have said, I'm after a tattoo and this is exactly what I want. And they attach pictures and everything else and half the job done. And the people that goes, where's your studio? It's like, well, if you're too dumb to have looked further down on the page, beyond the email address, then we're too lazy to reply to you. You know, it's just, do your homework. Do as much as you can before you sit in the chair. And as I say, the artist, if you attach images and are as descriptive as you can be, we're not expecting like 20 pages. Even that can be the opposite. We can open that and go, whoa, that's a bit scary. There's too much information. But if you attach your ideas and, you know, any images, even sketches, whether they're good or bad, or just to give us some idea of what you want from us, how you see it working, whether we change it or whether, you know, sometimes we'll look and go, oh, I get what you mean. You kind of want a face there and you want this. Funnily enough, the Twin Peaks one, that was perfect example. The image was the quickest, scrappiest image he could knock up, but it gave me an idea of what
gave you a jumping off point to go from.
Like, I've got ideas myself, and I worked with it. And when I presented it to him, he was like, it was like you were in my head. It's awesome. I wasn't exactly seeing it like this, but that's kind of better than I had thought of. So yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, just give us as much idea, many of your ideas as you can.
Well, thanks for that. Any plans for the future you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm looking to set up my own studio in the next few months. Probably, well, definitely the new year.
That's big, exciting.
It really is. Yeah, I've been
Nervous?
at my studio for 7 years. No, actually, really excited because I know it's. I'm not rushing into it. That's the thing. So, it's. I'm not leaving the studio and I've got no work. I'm doing guest spots with, you know, fellow artists and whatever, people that I've wanted to guest with for a long time. So, when the right studio comes along in the right location, I'm ready.
Excellent.
Ready to do it. And I've got people in mind that have showed interest in working with me and whatever. So yeah, it's all going to work the way it's meant to work.
We'll keep an eye on you and update the folks. We're going to Skype in with Jason Butcher and Lianne. How do you pronounce your last name?
Moule.
Moule?
I believe so. She'll tell me off now.
Yep.
My name's Jason Butcher. I'm a part-time tattooist, part-time wizard.
Original, never ask what a style was. Nah, homie, I don't think you mean the same thing we mean when we say style. See, when we say style, y'all wanna see, hey, check this shit out.
I got tattooed when I was 18 with a friend of mine. And it was pretty quick and pretty uninteresting story, but I just felt like it was something I could do at that time, to something I fancied. Then I had some children, so that went on the back burner and I had to have a real job for a while. And maybe 5 or 6 years later, I got back into it with some friends and stuff like that, and decided that's what I wanted to do with my life.
So I came to weed, but then I left the seed and got a cover of the body of the sinner I be. All praise to the three, to the Trinity, the sign of the cross over the water and thee.
Like the kind of art that was being done then in tattooing wasn't particularly what I was into, but I just felt like there's something I could be good at, even though I wasn't necessarily. I just had a feeling that I could be awesome at this one day. And I'd tell my friends, I'd say that when I started, I was like, I'm going to be awesome at this one. And they're like, yeah, but you do realise you're actually pretty shit at the moment, don't you?
You're listening to typical original sound, but if you want to see the throne, then consider the crown. CC, we came to get down. Turn the system off while you talking around. You're listening to typical original sound. If you want to see the throne, they consider the crown.
We started off, I think it was 14 years ago. We opened a shop in South Woodland, a tiny little town, as you well know. Then we moved here about 4 years ago. I only lived like 15 minutes walk up the road. I think it's just come from strength to strength here, really. Oh, I think I'm super soft, fast. Get on with everybody super well. It's a real nice team atmosphere. Everyone gets on really well.
To the vapor and they recorded, but it is embedded into my head, and then I regretted it. If I could let my debt would be credited, I'd trade my life for death and be ascended.
Sick of killer slides, teachers still a vilifies. The shady dealers is still a filler dimes. The friends and not a can of them pretending that they always been down. If the quotables were written on the side, I was saying,
yeah, I feel like this is the best. This is the one. There's one every generation. I think when I die, it'll probably attach to somebody else. And, they'll be lucky enough to carry it for the next generation. Yeah, I entered the European Beer Championship a few years ago. Came fourth, but yeah. I'd say it was a hometown decision. I'd say I probably should have been the winner. My ambition is just to be awesome. I just figure be awesome every day. That's only going to take you somewhere good, isn't it? I feel like I should have some kind of crown or robes or something. Maybe when I get to the end of the tattoo, someone just throws a cape on me, like James Brown or something.
1, 2, get down. Original, never ask what a style from. Original, never ask what a style from.
Then I'll just follow you through the shop, Jason. Just do the same sort of thing.
Can I just warn them that I'm going to do that to them?
Yeah, might be an idea.
Hey, all right, we're back with Jason and Lianne on Skype with David Corden as well. Hi guys, how are you?
Good, thanks. You
We're
okay?
good now.
Yeah, we're good.
We're getting everything worked out on this end. Gabe doesn't want me to tell everybody that. But I'm going to say it, we fuck up a lot. All right, we'll edit that out too. All right, we'll edit that. All right, I'll stop editing.
Yeah. That's the best bit. They're the bits I like.
The random stuff?
Just, you know, everybody's human.
Yeah.
Jason's not. Jason's a god, but, you know, everybody else.
Well, not a god, but let's not get silly.
Well, you have a beard like Zeus.
Well, I'll take that, yeah. Zeus is pretty good, yeah.
She's gonna live with this.
Every day.
You've just given Jason a new nickname.
So we've seen the new promo video, and it came out awesome. I really I enjoyed it a lot. It's pretty funny. David wants to have one made for him now. That's got to be one step above that one. Do you think it's?
Oh, we could definitely get one made for David, definitely.
Definitely.
I think I've got ideas already.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
What would work for him? What do you think?
I'm sure I'd get famous. I'm not sure it would be the kind of fame I'm looking for.
Infamous?
No, it's the same with my one. I was worried that guy might ruin me. I certainly gave him plenty of footage to ruin me with, but it came out good. I was pleased.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, awesome.
So, Jason, your style of tattooing seems to rely heavily on Photoshop stuff. Is that true? Photoshop? Yeah. How did you come about doing that?
I think at some early stage I realised that Photoshop might be an awesome tool to learn to use. I've seen a couple of people use it, and I don't know, I used to freehand everything for years. I used to draw everything straight on skin. And then I just kind of realised that you don't get any extra credit for doing that kind of stuff, and that maybe I could make things look more realistic by photoshopping stuff or using some photographs. So I kind of met somewhere in the middle where I pretty roughly Photoshop stuff together and then make up the rest of the bits myself. So just kind of found somewhere in the middle, really. I don't want to just trace stuff straight out, but I wanted it to look more realistic, so Photoshop was the answer.
Did you find it hard to get that Photoshop image onto skin exactly the way you want it? Because it's easy to manipulate things in Photoshop, and it's much harder to do with tattooing.
Yeah, but I think for me, it's not so important that the Photoshop image is perfect. It's more like the stage that I'm more interested in is the tattoo. So it's kind of just a rough guide, and then I want the tattoo to be the best part of the process, obviously.
So do you prefer doing really large pieces? Because I've seen some of your full body suits, you know, the one with the skull that goes onto the arm, and do you like doing that kind of stuff over a smaller piece, or?
Do you know what? Actually, I like doing anything that just uses the body in a more interesting way, something a little different. So big stuff's really cool, obviously, but anything where I get to just use, you know, I don't like just doing a sleeve or a chest piece or a whatever. I like to use the body in a bit more interesting way, I think.
So when you're laying out a really large bodysuit like that, are there any tools you use to get it where you want it?
Do you know what? Probably the thing that helped me do it is doing Sean Barber's painting seminar. When I realised that he just kind of, you know, will print stuff out like A4, tape it together, kind of, you know, so I make a human size stencil by using that same method, really, just printing the picture out full size and kind of stenciling it on.
Have you ever done any projection? You know.
I have tried that sometimes. Yeah, that works pretty well. It's not quite as detailed, but it depends on the piece, really, isn't it?
So, Lianne, what's your specialty, and how did you come to work with Jason?
Well, I met Jason 12 years ago when he taught my sister how to tattoo, and she's an incredible artist now. And I've been tattooing about, 5 or 6 years now?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jason taught me everything I knew. And kind of, from there, things have just sort of evolved. And I think I'm starting to come across my own style. It's always evolving and always changing, but I think I'm getting there with it.
What do you prefer to tattoo? What are you looking for in a client?
What am I looking for? I don't know. Just to try to push the boundaries, I guess. Not stick to the rules. Just take things to a new place and a new level. It's something that I really am interested in doing, but it's always difficult to know how you're going to get there and what the path is going to be like. But it's fun, the process, anyway.
You're looking for open-minded customers, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. Isn't everyone?
Yeah.
They're few and far between, but it kind of helps with everyone's progression, I think.
Jason, same thing for you? You're looking for an open-minded customer, or do you like to do what you want, or will you take a customer's idea?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. My daughter is one of our receptionists at our studio, and she started telling people when they come in for their consultations or to see their designs, she just preps them for me and just says, be open-minded about what you're going to see. Because I'll show them a design and they're like, wow, that was not what I was expecting. And it takes them kind of 10 or 15 minutes to look at it and go, oh, okay, kind of, I think I like that, you know. So she just tells them, be open-minded.
Yeah, she'll have the design right there, but she won't show them. She'll just say, right, have an open mind before I show you this.
You ever have clients who are like, no, I don't want that?
Do you know what? Sometimes I've had it where, like, I'm so used to people just doing whatever, just going with whatever I say, that it almost just seems weird when they say no. So, like, sometimes people are so offended. Like, a guy told me he was really perturbed by my design one time. I don't even know what that means, but he certainly wasn't happy about it, you know. But it freaks me out. I just expect that everyone goes, yeah, cool, do whatever you want, and then they're happy with it. Because I'm spoiled.
I think a lot of time people don't really know what they want, but they know your art and they've seen what you do, so they trust you and they kind of put that in your hands. It's definitely what I do when I'm getting tattooed. You know, I'm getting tattooed by Jeff Gogray at the moment, and I trust whatever he does is going to be amazing. I'm not fussed about the subject matter that's going to go on, because I know that the whole piece is going to have this amazing flow and beautiful colours, and it's going to fit my personality. I think that customers kind of, they understand that about their tattoo artists, whoever they choose.
It's frustrating when you get somebody that says, I'm not really sure what I want, and they give you, you know, free rein, and then you do a design and they don't like it, and then you do another design and they don't like it, and then gradually it's like, well, you did know what you wanted then. And they go, you know, well, really, I saw it more like this. It's like, but you didn't tell me that at the beginning. You know, you've just wasted several days and quite a few hours, and then they get a bit moody that it's like, well, but I paid you a deposit. It's like, that's to guarantee you turn up to the tattoo. It's not for countless days of artwork. It's not, you know.
I think they're just not my customers. Then. I think that's just not my customer.
Yeah.
I'd be nice about it, but like, you've got the wrong artist, and I'm not for you. You're not for me. Like, there's no hard feelings, but you know, I just think the right people. You know, I think I attract the right kind of people that like my stuff. And I think if you're honest about what you do and you have a style that's really you, you're not kind of copying someone else or whatever. You just kind of attract the
you said that to me when I guested with you actually, and I thought about it a lot after I'd left, and it is true. I more and more nowadays, I can pretty much guarantee the client that's going to come in, whether I've met them or not, is going to be somebody that's at the very least I'm going to get on with really well, and more often than not, I've got a new friend, you know, and it's somebody that I stay in touch with, and whether they want more work. Sometimes they end up wanting more work because we've gotten on so well, and they're like, this was great. I enjoyed the process, I enjoyed the banter and everything else. And then other times it's just that they're going to suddenly start just calling into the studio just to say hi because they had such a good time and we got on so well. And I don't think that's a coincidence. The people that are looking for that style of work are looking for, whether they realise it or not, they're looking for more than just the work you do. They've got deeper things in common with you. So, you know.
You're never selling a car, you're always selling yourself. And I think it's the same with your tattoos. You're already selling a bit of yourself. Maybe it's similar to being, maybe we're second-hand car salesmen. I don't know.
You consider yourself a used car salesman?
Well, maybe, yeah. Maybe that's it.
But you already know within those few first minutes of meeting someone whether you are the right tattoo artist for them. Because it's not just about them liking your work, it's about you kind of gelling together and your personalities colliding and just getting on. And and more times than often it's more about getting on and having that bond with someone than it is about liking the pictures that you draw.
Sometimes I can tell by their email, like David said, you can just tell immediately. You know?
So, Jason, what's the process someone would have to go through to get tattooed by you?
You'd probably have to go live up a mountain in Japan for probably 10 years and contemplate the universe for a bit.
That's where we met.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Japanese mountaintop?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to email me with an amazing idea. It's no more difficult than that, really. Or you just, you know, give me some part of your body and let me do what I want on it, you know?
Yeah, that's the simplest way,
simple.
isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Just maybe include more than one idea in an email. Just throw some things at us that it's kind of, I get a bit daunted. The first time I started getting emails going, you can do anything you want. I'm like, really? And I got excited and then I went, oh God, what do I want?
What do you want to do?
I want to do too many things. And I couldn't narrow it down to one. It's like, geez, that's actually really scary.
What's that?
Right.
No, I want to do what I want. I don't want to do what they want me to do.
You're having this, whether you like it or not. I don't care if it's not your kid.
Well, they tell me what they want, and then I draw whatever I want, and then I go, this means what you wanted. They go, oh, that's cool.
This is better.
That's your interpretation of what they want. You know better what they want anyway.
Exactly.
They're not tattoo artists.
Yeah. No, exactly. Honestly, I kind of do feel that way. Like, maybe I'm just a little bit strange like that, but I feel like I'm good at expressing myself in that way. And maybe a customer has only ever done it once or twice. I've done it thousands of times. So I think they should probably trust me to.
Do you think that level of confidence is necessary to be successful as a tattooer?
I don't know. It depends what level of success you're talking about.
I think you definitely have to be confident in your work, in your tattoos, and confident enough knowing that what you think is going to look best is going to look best. If you're not confident putting that across, then they're going to pick up on that and think, actually, no, I don't want it like that, I want it like this. And then you end up sort of meeting halfway and no one's really happy.
Yeah, confidence is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, because they've got to feel comfortable around you. And if you give off an air of well, yeah, if you're anything other than confident, then they're not going to be confident in you, because it comes across that you don't even trust yourself. So they're like,
I'm confident because I believe in my work. Like, I was talking to, we were with Jo Harrison and her boyfriend this weekend, and we were talking about, like, it isn't necessarily, but you have to believe that your work is the best work in the world, or it's the most honest way you could represent yourself. So I'm confident because I believe in what I do, and David's confident in the same way, that you're really selling that person the absolute best thing you could imagine, you know?
Yeah. I've had people recently. It's not so often now, but they'll contact me and they'll send me the photograph they want copied exactly, and then nearer the day they go, when am I going to see a sketch? It's like, of what? Yeah. Did you want me to make changes to the photo you've given? No, I want that photo. Why? I'm not going to have a practice run of drawing it. I think my portfolio, you've come to me for a reason. You know, I can do what you want me to do. You're not going to get a free drawing out of me as well. It's just, and that's why I don't repeat tattoos. Maybe I should.
Maybe you should have a little practice.
It's why I don't repeat tattoos as well, because I give them 100%. And then if somebody else wanted it, they might get 80, because I've done it. And I'm not into it the second time around, and everybody deserves 100%. You know? And
that's kind of what we were saying earlier on about when you do your Photoshop design. I don't want to do everything in that design, because then I'm bored of it. Like, I want to save a little bit of magic or something cool for when I tattoo it, because that's the best part for me, you know?
So how did you get started tattooing? And I'll ask both of you that question. I mean, Lianne, you already told us a little bit, but...
I got started 19 years ago, and literally I just bought some equipment and taught myself, like, the worst possible way.
Where were you tattooing when you had that equipment? Out of your house?
In my house.
What kind of work were you doing?
Shit. Yeah. Honestly, just like, because I was self-taught, I just wanted to make sure I didn't make any horrendous tattoos. So I just did real simple stuff, just simple line work and basic colours, probably for 2 or 3 years, just till I learned how to put ink in the skin properly.
Whoa. I hear Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, that's my text message.
That's awesome. He really is the Dark Lord.
Oh no, he's here with us. Just in the other
You just got a text from Darth Vader.
Yeah,
your connections reach deep. So did you ever have a proper apprenticeship, or did you just go from tattooing yourself for a couple of years and then...
No, I just taught myself. And then I maybe worked with another guy for just a few months. We didn't really hit it off. His work wasn't very good. And, you know, like, I always felt like there's no way I could have learned everything by myself. There's no way. And then it turns out I had.
So
I worked for... Well, I'd learned enough.
You feel like you know everything now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely. No, for years I would feel like somebody, like, I'm doing well, but somebody's going to find out that I'm a fake. Yeah, and they're just, and it'll all be over, you know? Somebody's going to catch me out and go, you're not doing that properly.
Yeah,
you don't know
everything's going great, and I've not got the confidence in myself that I'm confident in myself, but not to the degree others are. They kind of think, you know, everything, you know, oh, you're doing so well, and of course it's going to be a success, and of course it's going to be this, and it's like, I think if I was as confident as they are in me, I'd be really arrogant. You know, and I think you need to know that you're human and that you can fail. Try damn hard not to, but you know, it keeps you pushing hard. It keeps you trying to be better every day. If you think you're already at the top, then maybe you kind of rest on your laurels a bit and your work starts slipping. But you know, if you want to stay the best, then you've got to be the one that doesn't think you are, because you've got to keep reaching for it.
I like that though. I like it when somebody's got that crazy confidence in you. And you're like, really? I don't feel good about this at all today. And they just think, this is going to be amazing because you're doing it. And you're like, wow, I didn't know I was that guy. Like, when did that happen? Sorry, it's Darth again.
Ah, nice.
I like it. It's a nice touch.
It's a nice addition to the show.
Yeah.
Leanne, you mentioned Jeff, and Jeff is one of those guys who is always thinking that he's not good enough. You know, you talk to him, he's rubbish. Very humble guy.
He's too good.
He's always like, geez, nope, I can do better than this.
And he can. That's the thing. Every time he does it, you're like, God damn.
That attitude has just pushed him and pushed him and pushed him every year. And I think that's a great attitude to have. Like, you think, I can do better. and you keep trying, and you will eventually
And
get
what's
better.
wonderful is that he wants to share the knowledge as well. He doesn't want to, you know, he's
Yeah.
as good as he is, and he wants everybody around him to be as good as that, and he wants to share everything he's learned so that you get there that much quicker. And, you know, it's just, he really is a genuinely humble guy.
So how do you guys feel about that openness with education and sharing ideas and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, it's, if these people are going to tattoo out their home anyway, then at least give them enough information that they're not scarring people up. You know, whether they choose to take the information, whether they'll spend the money on webcasts with artists, or whether or not they'll buy the magazines, or, you know, that even make the effort to do their homework online. That's down to them. But if we put the information out there, I mean, you're not going to give every single secret up. You know, you want to give them enough to get competent at tattooing. You know, don't go too deep. Do this with your machines. Make sure you spend the money on your equipment. Don't think something that costs £10 is going to do, the best job of tattooing. But at the same time, you don't want to give them, you know, every bit of information. Otherwise, they're going to try running before they've learnt the basics. You know, they're going to do it anyway. You know. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Your advice, and they're the ones that, because they're asking for it, they want to learn, they want to be inspired, they'll get there eventually anyway. There's the other end of the spectrum, where there's the people that you can try and help as much as you want, but they just won't listen. They don't want to know.
They're already rock
and
stars
that's
in their
why
head.
they are at the other end of the spectrum.
And the people that come to us still now, I want to be a tattooist. Could I see your portfolio? I've not got any drawings. Then fuck off. You know, you've got no right to be looking to be any kind of artist. You know, if art isn't your passion and your life, then stay out of it. It's not. You don't get into it because you think it's a cool job. It's got to be something that you cannot live without. You know,
there's definitely guys out there that have
definitely. Yeah. But you know, they'll never be Jeff Gogway.
Right.
You know, they may make
But those people,
but they're never going to be gracing the covers of magazines and doing work that's, you know, that the art world, the tattoo world stand up and go, who is this guy? Oh my good God, you know.
No, those people, they kind of dream about it. They're dreamers. You get that within any industry. Look at, I don't know, football, for example. You get kids, I want to be a footballer, I'm going to be a footballer. Well, they try a little bit playing football, but they don't get picked for the teams. So you just kind of have to admit, actually, no, I'm going to be a football fan. And it's the same with those tattoo fans. They need to just accept that they're going to be the tattoo fan and not the tattoo artist.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to be involved in the industry without being the artist.
Oh yeah.
You know, whether or not you're the next collector or or promotion or anything at all. You know, there's a million ways to be around that thing you love.
TattooNOW doesn't have any artists working.
No.
You know, TattooNOW is all non-tattooers.
Ex-criminals.
A lot of ex-criminals, especially Matt O'Brien. That guy.
Yeah.
Stay
And
away from him.
Yeah.
Jeff is a shareholder.
Oh, right. You know, I guess Jeff Gogway is involved with us, so he does tattoo. But
never heard of him.
But he is an ex-criminal.
Right. We needed that part of it.
He's a practicing criminal.
He's been thrown out of our country. Yeah, he's been thrown out of our country, so he's a criminal.
Well, my point was that, you know, we're in a support role. You know, we care about tattooing just as much as tattooers.
Yeah, it takes everybody though, doesn't it? It takes, you know, like even in the studio, you have artists and you have receptionists and you have managers or whatever. It takes the whole team of people, doesn't it?
We're rubbish at organising ourselves. We're not too bad at it to begin with.
Well, we found out.
And as soon as you start to get, or the busier you become, the more everything else falls by the wayside. We kind of, just let us concentrate on tattooing. We don't want to do anything else.
Me and David thought that the universe takes care of us. It turns out it's Kelly and my daughter Jasmine.
Yeah.
Magically, I turn up at work and there's someone there waiting to be tattooed. I thought it was the universe did that for
No,
me.
it's Jasmine.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
Without people to organise our days and answer the emails and be the face of us, we don't get to tattoo every day.
Well, those guys are just as important. Definitely.
Yeah, just as important.
Right on. So what have you got coming up in your future, guys? What are you going to be working on? Traveling at all?
Yeah, we're always traveling, conventions and stuff like that. Just more big projects, more interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Both of us are about to open up our books for next year. So
yeah, I want to do some new things, get some excitement and something new. Just, I think it's important to keep
pushing forward
because it keeps you interested and keeps the ideas fresh, and just want to try new things. Not sure exactly what they are.
The most exciting things for them both is that they're going to get to tattoo me next year. I know they're
oh yeah,
they're planning their year.
Are they aware of that?
Yeah, they're honestly they can't.
I was just about to mention
words.
that's
why they didn't mention it. They're so excited they don't know how to actually get that across to people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's one of the things. That's one of the things we're going to do a lot more collaborations and stuff like that.
Right on.
That's
well,
cool.
hey, it was great talking with you guys.
Oh, you too.
I'd
Thank
like to
you.
have you back sometime if you'd be into that.
Yeah, definitely.
And you as well, David.
Thank you, sir.
Nice chatting with you.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope you have a safe flight home.
Thank you very much.
And you've been watching TattooNOWtv. Thanks.
See you soon.
And it's not my fault that I looked in her eyes. And it's not my place to know about her life. And one fine day, I'm gonna understand that it's not my fate to know this woman. And it's not my fault that I'd even ask. What was her name? To this day I'm just so sorry I asked. But I know you can think there's a lot that's true. And now I throw away thoughts of maybe me and you. Or maybe me and you. Or maybe me and you. Me and you. And it's not my fault that I'd even ask. What was her name? To this day I'm just so sorry I asked. And I know you can think there's a lot that's true. And now I throw away thoughts. Or maybe me and you. Or maybe me and you. Or maybe me and you. Me and you. But I know I am just alone and aloof. But I could learn to be loved, so let me be the fool. And I know there's a mark, and I've seen it just cross. But I know there's a sign, and that I'm always just lost. And that I'm always just lost. And that I'm always just lost. And I hope you get off. And now I know there's a sign. And I can see what it is.
So the last bit of this highlight is community submitted videos. If you guys have content, we'll love to highlight it. This first one is from Ian McCowan. He was here recently at Off the Map doing some painting, some tattooing, a bunch of stuff. But he has been uploading some great tutorial videos. We highlight them in our newsletter, which goes out every 2 weeks. If you want to sign up, you can kind of get a sneak peek at some of the stuff that comes through. But he'll be going through how to gesso a painting board. So without further ado, the video.
Hey everyone, Ian Robert McCown here. I wanted to show you a quick demonstration today about how I get a bit more texture when I'm using a surface that's a bit too smooth. Sometimes texture can be a part of like an artistic element, a part of your composition, whether it's texturing or you get a bit of movement in a certain direction, or you get rough areas versus smooth areas. Today I'm going to be painting on gesso board. Gesso board is this really amazing product put out by Ampersand. It's masonite backed, nicely braced, really clean edges. But it's also incredibly smooth. They do put out an artboard, which I think has a bit more texture. I typically like a bit of tooth to my canvas and my board. So rather than just scuff this up a bit with some sandpaper, I'm going to go ahead and put a thin coat of gesso on here, but in a way that's going to make it a bit more textured. So what we're going to need is some gesso. You can get this in all different shapes and sizes, even tints. One good thing to remember is it's better to do several coats of gesso if you're starting with a raw canvas or raw board instead of just one large one. But you should always thin it out and sand in between coats if you're going to be doing that. I'll be thinning it out today as well, probably like 1/4 water to 3/4 gesso. The other thing I'm going to need is this Wagner paint sprayer over here. It's obviously for indoor use, small hobby projects, maybe someone painting a small room, but it's really good for applying even coats of gesso without getting the brush strokes, which sometimes brush strokes are great, and sometimes I'll even apply it with my hand and get a lot of really cool effects that way. But I want something a bit smoother because I don't want the texture of the board to detract from the actual painting. So let's go outside and I'll show you how I do this. Okay, so we're outside and I went ahead and put down a piece of cloth just to spare my rocks from getting gessoed. First thing I'll usually do is take a little mouse sander and just kind of scuff it up real quick. I'm going to go ahead and show you that. It doesn't have to be perfect, you want to give it a little bit of, you want to make sure that the gesso can actually stick to it a little bit. So. And I will typically use a pretty rough sandpaper for that. You know, you're not trying to smooth it out, you're trying to scuff it up. So I've already loaded my paint sprayer with some gesso. The cool thing about these sprayers is they come out a bit lumpy sometimes, and that's what I'm looking for. Went ahead and diluted it, and it's already just here in the reservoir. All I have to do is pull the trigger, and it's going to go ahead and shoot out the gesso. Obviously, these sprayers are meant to be when you're spraying a vertical surface, so I may tilt this a bit with my hand. But I'm going to go ahead and apply the gesso right now. Came out pretty fast there at the end, but as you can see, when you spray it, I don't know if you can catch on the camera, maybe I'll zoom in, but you can see there's clumps and then there's like a fine bit too. So I think it's going to give it more tooth in the end. I could go muck around with this, I could sand it, could do several coats. If I were spraying a panel or a canvas, I would use several coats of this sanding in between. The one thing to watch out for is to have some water handy, it gets pretty messy. As well as you want to clean out this sprayer really quickly once you get done using it, or the gesso will set up inside of it. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to paint on this a little bit later today once it dries, and we'll give it a go. Thanks.